Yo, 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 welcome. Matthew Blunt, ULMX, Universal Language Media Exchange. Our mission is to make practicing speaking new languages fun. In this video, we're talking about a common mistake that Germans make when speaking English. And whether or not you're a German or a native German speaker, we want to ask you guys, do you find this tricky as well? Does your partner find this tricky? Have you smashed the like button yet? And have you subscribed? The distinction that makes this a very important video is that in English, the word often is directly tied to a frequency, which means some unit of time is attached to the number. Whereas in German, the word oft, which is very similar to English's often, it means something else. And so it's a false cognate. The German word oft refers to a number or a count of something or a number of times. So the question that Germans often ask is, how often have you? Which is kind of impossible to ask. It confuses me personally, and I think other native English speakers would say, I'm not sure what you really want to know. So what you're asking, if you want to know the count, is how many times? How many times? What you want to ask is either how many times have you, or how often do you? Or if it is in the past tense, how often did you? So that's the question. And often is always a relative number, so that in English, the answer to the question, how often, is always going to be a number per week, minute, any unit of time. So 100 times per year, 20 times per minute, 20 times per week, per month. I go skiing 100 times per year. Wow, I didn't know you went that often. I've driven back and forth between Munich and Ulm 1,000 times. Wow, I didn't know you did that so many times. So remember, the correct question is, how many times have you gone up the church tower? How many times have you visited Schwäbisch Hall? How many times have you applied to Google? And how often do you apply to Google? Oh, I apply at least 3 times a year. Oh, I apply at least 4 times a year, per year, or a year. A year is technically, I don't know if that's even right, but yeah, we say it anyway. So a lot of times instead of saying per year or per month, we say a month or a year. Technically, I think that's incorrect, but no one's ever in my life corrected me on it. So you can be rest assured, no one's going to correct you on that either. All right. And to make this video a little bit more fun, I want to offer you guys a dialogue. Please pay attention to the 3 words, many times and often. Focus on those words only and just let your subconscious understand the context and where each belongs. I would definitely recommend repeating this video over and over again until it's just totally crystal clear, because repetition is the key to learning. It is really repetition is really everything. Repetition, I'm telling you. Repetition, nothing can beat repetition. Repetition, how many times have I said repetition? Since I'm the only person on my team right now, I'm going to play both roles. Let's go. Have you read Lord of the Rings? Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. I'd say I first read it in middle school. Nowadays, I read it about once every 4 years. I go back and read the whole trilogy again. Wow, so you read Lord of the Rings really often, huh? Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. Some people read it much more often. Some people read it once a year. Some people, as soon as they're done the last book, they just start again on the first book. Wow, and how long does it take to read the whole trilogy? To get through the whole thing probably takes about 6 months. Unless I throw The Hobbit in, then it takes a little bit longer. But I don't get to read as often as I like. Work, kids, all those other problems. Probably only get to read about 5 times per week. Huh, well, it still seems like you read a lot more often than me. Have you read Lord of the Rings? Yes, indeed. How many times? Just once, like you said, work, kids, all those other problems. Did you like it? I wish they showed the talking trees more often, but yeah, I liked it. And I don't know how many times they went back to Frodo and Sam arguing, but it was a little bit too often for me. If that doesn't make it clear, I suggest definitely repeating the video, because like I said, repetition is everything. And now I'll just review the points I made earlier in the video. Often in English is directly tied to a frequency. which means some unit of time has to come with the answer to the question, how often? Once again, if you guys haven't already left your comments down below, let us know, is this something that trips you up or not? And what's your native language? Because I do think that Germans are not alone on this one. Have you guys already smashed the like button? All right, you're free to go. All right, so if you're still here, I'm just gonna talk about the app for a second. We'll just swing over to my office. So our app is specifically designed to improve your speech ability so that when you go abroad that you can speak without hesitation. Our app is a speech practice app and there's no writing involved. There's really no reading involved. You could read the transcript if you wanted to just get clear on something. It's there for you, like song lyrics, but you don't need them. We'll say a sentence, you repeat the sentence, and it's all through translations. You'll hear the sentence in your mother language. You'll hear it in German in this case because our first version is for German native speakers. And when you hear that cue in your mother language, you translate it. It gets pretty tricky, but you also get really good at doing the exact right translation. And it's reflexive. When you answer, you become so accustomed to saying the right thing in the right moment. This type of training is just light years ahead of the next best option. But anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for tuning in. If you don't already know, now you do. And what you're asking is if spy plane flying up I wonder if you can hear that on the microphone. Spy plane. It's a supersonic jet. Super high jet too. Looks like a little star. So what you want to ask is either how many times have you or how often do you? Or if it is in the past tense, how often did you?